Hello, 55 subscribers. Woohoo! Um, I hope you're all doing well. So I haven't done a video in a while. I did that air rifle one yesterday, and a very short one of a package that got sent to me because I like to complain. That's just my nature. No, not really. Sometimes it can be. Anyway, I think we're all like that, yeah. So the air rifle video that I did, it didn't so much get taken down, but it got hidden by YouTube. So all I've done is reworded the title and the description and took the word rifle out, and I'll just see how long it stays up there for. I'm not holding my breath, and quite frankly, if it gets taken down, I really don't care. It's yeah, the thing still shoots like a bucket of piss. It's got play left and right in the hinge as well. It's ever so slight, so you can't use the scope. I've stopped the barrel from rotating in the hinge itself because it was sort of, if that's the hole that it was going in, instead of being a tight fit, it was turning like that. So I fixed that. It's got a grub screw through the bottom, and it takes about 28 pounds to break the thing to get it to lock. And yeah, I just think it wasn't worth the $200 I paid for it. It is why the other guy sold it, I'm pretty sure, because everybody that I've read comments of on the internet has said that they can't zero the thing. Like, obviously, not the same one, but that particular model. They can't zero it, it won't hold at zero. The plastic sights that are on it are actually on the barrel. So you got the end sight and you got the other one, and they go with the barrel, so they should always stay true. But my eyes are too bunged, hence the glasses, to really see what I'm shooting at. Hence the scope. One of my workmates laughed at me, and I told him I got a 9 to 4, 9 to 4. Anyhow, I got a 9 by 40 scope on there. 3 to 9 by 40 scope. That's what it is on a 22. He goes, you're either trying to shoot really far with it, or you're blind. And I just pointed, and he's like, fair call. He goes, I'm getting old, I've done the same thing. Oh, goes, that wasn't quite his words. His words were, my eyes aren't like they used to be. So there's that. So I think I'm going to have to sell that one. There's just no point keeping it if it doesn't shoot. So yeah, it's spring loaded, 1,000 feet per second. You can get gas inserts for it. I'm not going to waste any money on it. I'm just going to try and palm it off. So yeah, if someone come up for sale and it's from me, don't buy it. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing I was going to talk about, so obviously now I'm a bike rider. If you've looked at previous videos, I've been riding since I was 3. The first motorbike I had was 3, actually 2.5. Parents bought it for me, a JR50 Suzuki. Good little bike. Was worth a fair bit of money back then, and they're worth gold now. And it must have got ran out of oil, I don't know, half a dozen times. It took a lick and kept on ticking. I think it had no ring left by the time we hauled it down and rebuilt it. But yeah, like that was, it had a lot of, I must have been 9, 10 when I got rid of it. And yeah, then I got an XR 75. I reckon it was a 75 model. Fairly old bike. It was a bit bigger to ride around on. That did me for a few years. And at the same time of having that, I got a DS80 Suzuki, all of which my parents bought. So yeah, didn't as kids we didn't have a lot, but what we got was to last. So and would be it for a while, like a long time. Like yeah, we had to look after it. That was the whole point, not to trash it. Um, yeah. So anyway, that brings me. Oh, not quite. So I say it brings me to a story. But then I got the VT250 when I got my learners. Uh, Old man gave it to me, and yeah, that was a rolling frame and stuff. And I think everybody rebuilt that one. Everyone had their hands in that um, when it got rebuilt because it rolled up. It was a rolling frame and a couple of milk crates and a couple of cardboard boxes of engine. And I think old man reckons it was pulled apart because of the cam chain tensioners. And it must have had damage to barrels or something, or else old man never would have got it rebored because it was rebored new pistons. I think it's like a millimetre oversized, I think. Or is it 0.25 oversized? I don't know. We've had that many bikes over the years, it's not funny. Um, like I grew up on the back of old man's VF750. Um, so yeah, I've been around them all my life. On the farm we used to round sheep up, things like that. As kids we used to do jumps and like knacker ourselves on the tank, as the saying goes, and yeah, quite a few times put myself over the handlebars and things like that. I had a bike backflip on me. That was a DS, throttle jammed, going up a hill. The piston wouldn't go back down in the carby. That did it to me a couple of times actually before I rectified it. I thought, no, I'll just keep riding it. And I think we used castor oil in it, and that was part of the reason. And I think just wear in the carby itself was the other reason, or in the needle. I'm not even sure. Don't know. But we rectified it somehow. It was a long time ago, so I won't go into the details because I can't truly remember. But yeah, it gone up a hill and I couldn't back off. And the back brake was always shit on it. Could never. It worked, but it was never great. Like it wouldn't really grab and lock up. You could, you know, the engine would easily overpower it. In like third gear, that's how shitty I was. It was. Still had meat on the shoes, but yeah, it only had a 12-inch back wheel and a 14-inch front that I can remember, and I reckon it had a fairly large sprocket for the size of the wheel, so it had a fair bit of power. I mean, it was flat out at 80 k's an hour. And I used to treat it like that all the time, flat out, everywhere we went. And then, yeah, we did do some slow work, but, it was mostly flat out. My brother had bikes as well, and all our mates come out and rode with us. Grandpa dug a creek in the 50s to divert some water that came down off the hills. With a front loader that he bought. It was a new toy for him. He dug dams everywhere and things like that, I do believe. So yeah, we'd do jumps in this creek because it only flowed. Yeah, I can remember. I've only seen it have water in one of the dams once in my life, and we had like 2 inches or 2.5 inches in one night. Actually, in one night, I reckon it was a matter of hours. And there's water in places you've never seen. Well, never seen. Some of the older people had, but I hadn't. Never. So yeah, we'd do jumps all through there and act like larrikins and get our cars all sideways through there too and things like that. Privileges of being a farm kid, I suppose. And then yeah, we'd use our bikes to round up sheep and stuff whilst there was sheep, and yeah, moving cattle and just exploring. I can, before I get on the other stories, when I got my learners, I reckon I was 16 when I got my learners. I didn't snooze on that. I snoozed on the car license. I don't think I snoozed on the bike license. I reckon I had the bike license first. That was my first bit of freedom. In saying that, back then, before I had a license, I used to drive the tractors and drive a couple of old man's utes out around on the back roads and things like that. But back in those days, you could get away with it. These days now, I think you get hung, drawn, and quartered, and then probably burnt to a cinder, and probably spend more time in jail than a murderer. So yeah, things have changed kind of for the worse. But anyway, I got my learners, so I'm riding this VT250 Honda around. That I did spend a few years riding around on the farm before I actually got my learners. Plus, we had two of the same bike. They're nearly identical, so it's really hard going back through photos to see which one is which. Because yeah, they were both fixed up. I think. Well, one was going when we got it, and I'm not sure. Old man will remember. One I think was fixed up a bit and was running, but it might have been sick, and then this one was in pieces. So regardless, one way or the other, I rode one of the two around before I got my license, and then old man gave me this one in particular as my first road going bike, which I did ride that before I got my license. But yeah, so there's a road up from us where there's always kangaroos next to this vineyard. And I used to, I think one of my mates gave me this idea. I think a couple of us did it because I used to have a mate that I rode with all the time. He lives just down the road. He had a CV, 250N, like a late model, like it was 1990 something. And yeah, you'd ride alongside these kangaroos and you just grab their tail and you just tip them up. Except for one, and it was all good where you had your hand on the throttle. Except for one day I thought I'd reach out the other side and take my hand off the throttle and did it. So as he tumbled, he nearly took me with him. So I won't make that mistake again. Anyway, the stupid things that you do, right? Growing up. So week before, we picked up the BMW, and we had to wait a little bit for my mate that had bought it off of to get home, and we had things to do in town anyway, so we went and did some baby shopping and had some takeaway food that we don't normally have very often. It was actually noodle box of all things. I wanted Domino's pizza, but they were absolutely booked out. Like, there's just people in there. No one was serving me. I stood there for 2 minutes and no one come to the counter. I'm like, screw this. There's your customer service. So I never went back. I went around the corner and found where the missus was ordering. Walked in. What should I get? She points at the soy and black bean. I said, yeah, that looks good. Walked up to the counter. Sheila was already waiting for me. Said, I'll have that, in a large. This bowl was nearly the size of my head, but being Asian food, you tend to eat that and be hungry 15 minutes later, so, So there's that. Anyway, so the road that we took, I don't remember the name of it, but it runs parallel to Peachy Road, and we were heading west, and we were on the southern side of Peachy Road. It runs parallel. Anyway, we're in the Teeter, driving down to a mate's house to pick up the car, and there's this bike. I see him in the rear vision mirror. He's going around all the cars behind me. Mind you, he come from nowhere, but I'm talking like he is some 400 or 500 metres behind me, and he's going around all the cars. He's another fucking dickhead. I wasn't going to swear in this video, but if YouTube takes it down, then so be it. It's a very passionate topic, because these riders shit me. They make it hard for all of us. Like, I'm all well and good with having a bit of fun on your bike, but these guys are just fucking tossers. So he'd move to the left. Once he got to me, I'm doing 50 in a 50 zone. So 50 Ks in a 50 zone. It's in a built up sort of area. It wasn't really built up heaps, but you know, like you don't speed in town. So I'm doing right on the knocker, 50 kilometres an hour. And he's he's probably say 25 feet behind me. So he's somewhat a safe distance. I reckon if I braked really hard, I would have him, but I don't want to put him into the back of the car and wreck the car just because he's an idiot rider. It makes it hard for everybody else. So he's weaving like this, and I'm just slowly, just as he starts to weave, because I can see him sort of do this and then sort of predict what he's going to do. He looks over the roof of the car and he goes like this, and the bike goes this way, and I'm already going like this. As he's going like this and looking over and starting to bring the bike over, I'm already doing it because I'm predicting these movements. Because I've ridden for a long time, and other bike riders will be able to predict other bike riders' movements to some degree. You know, they do a little bit of a wiggle, and I'll go this way. So you see the handlebars go a little bit, and you see the bike lean over, and then you see it all. You just gotta watch him. Just gotta watch everybody else. You'll soon work it out what they do. Anyway. So he does that, and I'm going over the white line. So he goes to undertake me. Not once, but like multiple times. So I'm just like this, bring it back over. So as he goes like this, look over the roof and go like that, and he goes like that, you can see the bike lean. And I've gone over to the white line, and he's like, screw you, I'm going around. So he goes around on a solid white line, and in the opposite traffic, and he's like off like a shower of shit. Anyway, it's his funeral. He's wearing shoes, shorts, t-shirt. I mean, I don't always wear a jacket. I don't always wear leathers or anything like that. In fact, I don't wear leathers. I don't have any. I spent my childhood riding in long jeans, pair of work boots, and whatever shirt that I had on, being that it's 55 degrees and we're doing whatever on the farm. Things like that. But the thing is, I ain't riding like a dickhead. He's going to get hurt. And riders like him will get hurt. There come a time, they'll get hurt. And these idiots on the trail bikes in town that, ride through the parks and stuff like that, and none of them are registered, the little pit bikes and things like that. Yeah, I'm glad that you bastards get caught. I really am. Because you make it hard for us sensible riders. I've got a noisy bike. Actually, there's a lot of them that are noisy. I don't mind noise. Noise is fine. Especially on a bike. It lets everybody else know that we're there. Because nobody looks for us. Right? So I don't mind the fact that my bike's a bit noisier than the average one. And I suppose, in a nutshell, I don't know exactly where I'm going with that. I'm lost. Oh yeah, just that, because my bike's noisy, it attracts a bit of attention. But because it's a bike, and there's so many morons out there with noisy bikes, pulling fucking wheelies and shit like that in town, that I'm not even game to take mine to town. Because the cops will pull you over, even though you've done nothing wrong. It's kind of like having a Japanese drift car, be it completely stock or not, and it's like, well, a mate of mine, he had a 33. This is a classic example. He had a 33 with a pink car seat in the back. 2-door, so pain in the ass, but, that's what he had for a family car at the time. Cops pulled him over on a regular basis, and he's nearly 40. In fact, I think he might almost be now. This was a couple of years ago. And, 33, turbo. Had the big rims on the Skyline, and it wasn't noisy, but it had not a tuned exhaust, but a sports exhaust that was a bit, deeper throated and stuff like that. There goes the CFS truck. Wonder what's burning. Um, so yeah, and the cops were always surprised, you know, pulling him over, and he's like, "Oh," they're like, "You're not a teenager. You're not the typical stereotype hoon." He goes, "Do you think I would do what you're insinuating I'd do just because I drive a Skyline with my daughters in the car?" That was his attitude, and they left him alone. But that's what it brings. What these idiots bring for us that like to have these other cars that are the sports car or the hoon label. Same with our bikes, And the other thing that kind of sucks is we can't ride. I can't ride with any of my mates in town. I'm not game enough to. It's so hard on the bikers. Which, I mean, they're doing nothing wrong. Yeah, so what? There's a couple hundred of them. What do you freaking do? Let them go for their ride. You leave them alone, they'll leave everybody else alone. You know, most times you don't have any problems. You get the odd door kicked in by fuckwit car drivers that don't look for them, and that's fair enough. Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily the right thing to do, but if that's all you get, big fucking deal. The fact is, you've just tried to wipe somebody out, because you have failed as a driver. You've only got to watch dash cams to see all this. So there's that in a nutshell. So there's my whingy, bitchy, whiny, complainy session and a bit of background. And yeah, have fun, y'all. See you around the traps. It is Wednesday. I'll upload this on Thursday because it's like nearly 8 o'clock, I think. Yeah, it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock Wednesday. So I'll upload this when I get to work on Thursday, and I'll make another video tonight or tomorrow. We'll see. I'm too busy with work to do chainsaw stuff at the moment, but yeah, I'll do that too.